What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Downside Packers podcast with me, your host, Anthony Boyd. And today we're going to be talking about training camp. Football's finally here. I think the Packers today just completed their ninth practice of the year for including family night. And there's a lot of developments happening, a lot of stuff that we might not have seen coming, but there's a lot of changes going on. The cornerback room, there's a real competition going on there. The offensive line, as of today, is shifting. And the Packers pass catchers are looking really good early on. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's dive right into it. Obviously, one of my big concerns going into the season was the cornerback room. I think Green Bay knew that too early on. And it's obvious with the draft that they wanted to make a change in the cornerback room and with free agency. They brought in St. Juste, and obviously they brought in Brandon Cisse, who a lot of fans, myself included, are super high on, super excited about. But so far in camp, it seems like there's a real competition for that starting role at the cornerback spot. Keyshawn Nixon missed the first day of training camp with a hamstring injury. Honestly, I have to apologize to him because I thought that he was holding out for contract. We know he's going into the last year of his deal. I personally thought he was holding out, but it's real. He had a real hamstring injury. He decided to come back, and Keyshawn's been starting for the majority of camp. But as of earlier today, Keyshawn Nixon for the first time practiced with the twos, and he hadn't done that throughout camp. So it's obvious that there's some real competition in the room now that you see people rotating in, rotating out. Brandon Cisse is a name that has been big and has played well up until this point. Obviously, he's a rookie. There's a lot for him to learn here, but the Packers need their starters to be pushed just based on what we saw last year. The cornerback play was not good, and the Packers need talent to come in and push those guys so that they could get better. We saw games where the corners let down the team, especially after Micah got out and there wasn't much of a pass rush. The cornerback room got exposed. Cortland Sutton had a huge game on the Packers, and Cortland Sutton's a good receiver in his own right, but Cortland Sutton shouldn't be going off for 100 yards against the Packers. There's just no need for that. So we saw the Packers secondary struggle, not secondary, the cornerbacks in general struggle. Benjamin St. Juste also got starting reps today, and that's not going to say out of an ordinary. He has rotated in a few times with the starters, but today he was in there with Brandon Cisse. So him and Cisse were in with the ones. Valentine is out, so we have to take that kind of with a grain of salt, knowing that Valentine's not 100% right now, and he's not in with the starting corners. But Cisse's turning heads. St. Juste, we know what he's able to do. He's a vet. He's been in the league for a while. He's a great tackler in the open field, and that's something the Packers weren't great at last year. Keyshawn Nixon's an okay tackler compared to Carrington Valentine, but in terms of coverage, Valentine's way better than Nixon is in coverage. So there's trade-offs with both of those guys. I hope that Valentine gets a chance to start again and he improves his tackling. I like him in coverage a lot. It's just not tackling in the open field's a problem. Especially when a lot of those tackles he missed last year would go for big plays. So Cisse starting right now, coming in and out. They're rotating in, trying to find the right group of guys. And with the preseason game coming up later this week, we'll see what these guys look like when it comes to real live action reps against another team. Is Cisse able to keep up with some of the guys that the Steelers are going to put out on the field? I don't know if it'll be the Steelers starters. Haven't heard that from Mike McCarthy yet. But it is an opportunity for him to go out there and prove himself and show that he can compete on an NFL football field. St. Juste will be out on the field. I don't see why Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine, if he's healthy, aren't out on the field. I think all these guys need to be playing because I think this needs to be a true competition for the cornerback room. Again, nobody from last year proved that they secured their spot. These guys didn't play well. You bring in competition for them. Let those guys get a legitimate chance to start this season. And if they beat him out, so be it. I think there's ways to carve Keyshawn Nixon into this defense, sure. But I don't know if starting at outside corner is his best spot, honestly. I just don't know if that's his best spot. I don't know if you saw enough from him last year to be confident in that, and hopefully the people that you bring in can push him to be better, and if he's not better, hopefully those guys that are pushing him are better and can go out there and start at outside corner. That's my hope. I hope the Packers are looking at it the same way, and they aren't just going in giving Keyshawn Nixon a starting spot just because he's been on the team for a while. I hope that's not the way they're looking at it. Another position group, obviously, that we were heavily focused on going into this season is the offensive line. We kind of had an idea of what we thought the offensive line was going to look like heading into the season. You thought you had Jordan Morgan at left tackle, Aaron Banks, because you paid him money a couple off seasons ago, You thought he'd be the left guard. Sean Ryan, you just paid him. He'd be your center. At right guard, you thought you'd have Anthony Belton with another year of that under his belt. Then at right tackle, you thought you'd had Zach Tom, formerly Zach Tom, now Zach Bakobawele. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. I think I heard Matt Schneidman say it. But Zach Bakobawele at right tackle after he got healthy after his injury. I think we saw that early on. Kind of that's what the line is going to look like. But there's been a lot of changes throughout camp. And this position group is probably one that's changed the most so far throughout camp. But kind of what you expected because there's a lot of moving pieces on the offensive line. Aaron Banks dealing with another injury. This time it's his knee. He's been in and out of the lineup. The Packers have kind of had him on load management to make sure he's not too beat up by the time the regular season comes around. I don't like to see him on load management this early in the season. It's not a great sign to me. I get the Packers are trying to protect the investment that they put in him, so they're going to let him rest some days and practice some other days, but I'm not too confident in that. And a big piece and thing that I could see happening with him doing this whole rotation in and out is Jagger Burton comes and plays well at left guard. If he comes in there and plays well at left guard, I don't know how you go back to Aaron Banks outside of the fact that you paid him. Jagger Burton has potential to be good. Again, we need to see some of this stuff in live action. The offensive line has also struggled with pre-snap penalties. Jordan Morgan in particular has jumped off sides a few times now through camp, caused some false starts. But if Jagger Burton can come in there at left guard and play well, how do you go back to Aaron Banks? I mean, he's younger, he's a lot cheaper, and Aaron Banks hadn't done much for the Packers. Now, when he's been healthy, he's looked good, but that's the issue. He hadn't been healthy up until this point. How do you put that guy out on the field over a young, healthy player who you know can be a little more dependable because he's available? The best ability is availability. It's a cliche, everyone knows that, but it's the truth. If you're not available for a football team, then what use do you have for the football team? And it sounds bad and you're like turning players into commodities, but that's kind of football. It's a business and you have to come out there and produce. It's a meritocracy. The best you're going to play, nothing's handed to you. You have to earn everything you're given. And if you're given a bunch of money, I would expect you to be out on the field. That's just ultimately what it comes down to at the end of the day. Another development coming out of family night was Anthony Belton, a guy who I was very high on, hoping that he got better coming into this season, but it doesn't seem like he's improved in pass protection at all. And that's a red flag. You have to protect 10, keep him on his feet, because I think I've said this stat numerous times, but he's the best quarterback in football, EPA per play, when he's on his feet. If Jordan Love isn't being pressured, there's no quarterback in the NFL better than him. So what are the Packers going to do? They're going to prioritize keeping Jordan Love on his feet. And if Anthony Belton isn't able to do that, they're going to have somebody else who can come in and do that for him. Sorry, Anthony Belton. Love you a lot, man. You're from around this area. You went to college at NC State. Like, good kid, good guy. I say kid, he's about my age probably, but good guy. If you can't produce, though, then that's obviously an issue. So they've been rotating people in and out of there, and I think Jacob Monk today was in at right guard for him. And Anthony Belton had a very positive mindset about it, like he has to go earn his spot back. He understands that. It just sucks to see because I was hoping to see more continuity along the offensive line this year and hoping that we didn't have many of the same revolving door pieces that we kind of had going last year. Now, last year was granted, it was due to injuries and there's a lot of people coming in and out of the lineup, but I want Jordan Love to have the same group of guys and collection of guys, ideally, because offensive lines need time to gel and create cohesion among themselves. So it sucks that Anthony Belton might be getting rotated out of his spot, but kind of is what it is. Like I said, NFL's meritocracy. You got to earn everything that you're given. Another thing that's huge for this offensive line, Zach Bakobawele took live action team reps today for the first time all training camp, which is huge. Shows that he's on track to play week 1. He already told us that he planned on playing in week 1. But it's huge because obviously he's an essential piece of this offensive line. Zach is one of the best right tackles in the NFL. And obviously he had a terrible injury last year, and he battled through a lot of the injuries last year to try to stay out on the field. But him getting back into the swing of things, he'll be ready to go by week 1. I'm excited to see how healthy he is when week 1 rolls around, but I think he'll be fine. He seems to have recovered well just because of everything that the front office said throughout the offseason, everything the floor said. Everyone's very confident in what happened with him and how his surgery went, how his recovery was. So excited to see him back out on the field. And another big question mark was how is Jordan Morgan going to do at left tackle? By all reports, it seems like he's doing good. I've asked the question to Nagler before. talking about, hey, how's he doing? Got the response that, he's held his own. He's been solid at left tackle. And then I think a few days later, kind of started seeing some clips of him holding his own against some of the pass rushers. He's not budging much. Hadn't been very loud around him, which is a pretty good sign for a left tackle, for an offensive lineman in general, outside of the fact that, yes, he is struggling, like I said, with some of those pre-snap penalties. And LaFleur said, I think they might have had 7 during family night. So that's not ideal. You got to get that cleaned up. Don't want to give away free yards, just jumping off, giving out 5 every couple of plays or so. Not ideal. That'll be drive killers when the season rolls up around. So hopefully the offensive line can kind of get that dialed in. But Jordan Morgan's, in terms of his play, has played well up until this point. Let's get those pre-snap penalties dialed back, though. Another thing, going back to family night, the offense was humming very early with the pass catchers. Whether it was Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, Jordan Love seemed like he had a very good relationship with his receivers around him. Great sign for the Packers. You're wondering if that's going to be the case heading into the season. You lost production with Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks, 2 guys really good in their own right, but the Packers needed to move on. This whole receiver by committee thing was great while it lasted. I was a big proponent of it because it's hard to game plan when you don't know who's going to get the ball. Problem is, that's a lot of mouths to feed. And when you have 3 main guys now, you have Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, that you have to focus on, it's a lot easier to kind of, let's focus on our game plan around this. You supplement those guys with the Savion Williams, with the Tucker Kraft at tight end. There's a lot more that can happen with this offense. You're in a good spot with less people to have to get the ball to. Matthew Golden, plenty of times during family night, showed his ability to separate. The big one was I think it was the 101s period against Keyshawn Nixon. He looked really good. Inside release, non-ball, beat Keyshawn pretty much easily. Ran inside of him, got back outside of the numbers. Jordan put it on him, touchdown. It looked really, really good. I think he showed again, it wasn't necessarily separation, but his quickness. He got behind the defense, got behind Javon Bullard, deep touchdown again. It looked really good. So Matthew Golden looks like he's primed to take a big step this upcoming season. Hopefully he does. I think he has the ability to. He showed it last year when he got the opportunities. He just didn't have the same opportunities that a Luther Burden or someone like that had. He'll show people this year that he is a number 1 pick. A first-round pick for a reason for the Packers, and that they didn't pick him for no reason. People can say whatever they want to say about Matthew Golden, but if you watch the tape, if you watch what he did last year and not listen to social media, you know that he is a bona fide receiver in this league, and he's going to prove it to people every week this year, hopefully. So Matthew Golden, I'm rooting for you. Christian Watson and Jaden Reed should be there to help him. Those guys are the pillars of this offense. They've been there for a while now. Hopefully they could take some of that load off of him so he's not feeling like he has to carry the entire offense per se. Those guys just got paid nice contracts. They got paid for a reason. We know what you two can do. Jaden Reed's like a safety blanket for Jordan Love, and Christian Watson's Christian Watson. He just unlocks this offense and makes it go to another level every time he steps out on the football field because of his ability to take the top off of the defense, but do things in the catch and run game too. He caught the over route against the Bears, took it to the house with ease, essentially. You had him in one-on-one coverage against, I think, CJGJ. Good luck. That's not going to work. Not a chance that was going to work. So he has so many things he can do. He's also a great blocker out in the run game. This receiver room, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, again, hopefully they can help Matthew Golden early on. Tucker Kraft coming back. Hopefully they can help him too, because Tucker doesn't need to come in and get the same workload that he was getting early in the season last year before he got hurt. Christian Watson and Jaden Reed could kind of handle that early. And then Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft just work themselves into that, and those two can take off by the time the midpoint of the season, going into the latter half of the season when Micah Parsons gets back. Hopefully they could take off at that point. But that's really positive to see that Jaden Reed's doing good, Christian Watson's doing good, Matthew Golden's doing good, and Tucker Kraft's out there practicing. He didn't participate in family night, but he is looking good around that 9-month mark after his ACL tear. Another person that I asked on the Cheesehead TV channel, I asked Nagler, I think it was Thursday or Friday, I asked about Savion Williams because I hadn't heard anything about Savion Williams, which was interesting. I outside of the fact that it was like, you saw that one clip of him getting jammed up, and it's like, dude, you can't get off the line trying to run a route. That's not ideal. But Savion today, with Jaden Reed being out after family night and Matthew Golden also being out after family night, Savion Williams had the opportunity to come in today, and he had a good practice per every report. Everyone said that Savion Williams had a big day today, and that's good to see. Every time we saw Savion Williams, it's a lot of not speed options, but jet sweeps, and that's end around. That's not my big. I'm not a big fan of those in the first place. I understand getting some fast people side to side, laterally, getting the ball in their hands. But I think there's other ways to get the ball in a guy like Savion Williams' hands, whether it's a quick game situation. He's shown that he's able to go get the ball downfield. We saw that in the Giants game. There's other ways to get him the ball. So I'd like to see Matt LaFleur be more, experimental with what he can do with Savion Williams. According to what we saw today, maybe as a receiver, we saw that today at practice. I didn't because it was closed to the public. I'm not a media member, so I can't see it. But he had a big practice being a receiver today. I'd love to see that more this season. And again, if he can come in and supplement the big three, quote unquote, of receivers that the Packers have in Tucker Kraft, that'd be a huge help. He's huge and he can fly. I mean, how does that not help a defense if he can come in there and play for the Packers? But good to see that he had a good day today. Hopefully he could springboard into a positive season, just using that positive momentum, stack days from this point, and continue to improve as a receiver throughout the offseason. When his numbers called on during the season, maybe he can have one of those games like Bo Melton had a few years ago against the Vikings where it's like, dude, you're balling. You're not our main guy, but you're balling. You're having a huge game. I'd love to see that for Savion Williams. And I think it would help him as a receiver just because of what's happened to him so far in his NFL career, just not having many opportunities. Hopefully he gets a few more chances this year because the Packers did invest in him a couple years ago in the draft. Final couple thoughts and nuggets I'm going to get into. But before I do that, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me if you like this video, share it with a friend, let them know about the Down South Packers podcast. Subscribe to the channel. The season's coming up. Obviously, we're going to have a big year. Hopefully, the Packers go to the Super Bowl, so we're recording podcasts all the time talking about it. But I will be here to talk about the Packers throughout the season. A lot of other news coming up on my front that I'm not going to speak on now, but a lot of things to talk about. Please subscribe to the channel. We have a lot going on. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Back to my final thoughts and nuggets, though. Trace Mack had struggled throughout training camp, but at family night, he looked really good. I think he missed once at family night, and it was when the guy, I forgot his name. I don't want to say his name wrong. The guy who's commentating on the family night said, "Oh, Trace Mack has looked good. He hadn't missed." Then he missed. But he continued to make after that. So Trace Mack looked pretty good. Maybe he just needs a little pressure on him. A packed Lambeau helps him make kicks, but he did pretty good at family night. And then today at practice, he went 2 for 3. It is what it is. It's indoor kicking. It's fine. The one he missed went off of the upright. Some more big news today at practice. Chris Brooks and Javon Hargrave both practiced today, which is huge. Chris Brooks hadn't practiced at all. I don't think Hargrave had either. So both of those, or Hargrave had, but was out for the majority of camp so far. But both those guys being back, huge for the offense and defense. Chris Brooks, you get your presumably third running back, third down back, best pass protection back I've seen in the league in a long time. You get him back. That's huge for the offense. And then Hargrave, obviously your nose tackle, you want him in there. Big to have those two guys back in practice today. Javon Bullard left practice today because he was hurt. Nobody knows what the injury was, kind of undisclosed at this point. Hopefully we find out what his injury was, and hopefully it's nothing big. I don't think so. With just a lot of the injuries that happened after family night, seems like they're just minor little nicks, dings, bruises headed into this preseason week. But like I said, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and, again, subscribe to the channel. We have our first preseason game this week, so I'm going to be coming out with a pregame video. I'm not going to be going in depth, though, and talking X's and O's about preseason because everyone knows you're just seeing vanilla offense, vanilla defense. There's not much to it. Jonathan Gannon's not coming out in the penny look with the 3 high safeties, and he's not doing that, I would assume. He's not going to do that this game. And Matt LaFleur is not running any spinner plays or anything like that. So you're not about to see anything crazy. So I'm just going to talk about some of the key players that will probably be playing and what we can look forward to in this game. Hopefully some things that we can glean from watching it. But again, guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, I appreciate the support. Subscribe. And as always, go Pack Go.